We have a very magical and powerful journey of self-love and self-realization that we are embarking upon as Venus and Saturn flirt with each other within the sky in the sign of Pisces. Now, I say that Venus and Saturn are flirting, but Saturn isn't really much of a flirt. Venus, however, very much is. So there is this push and pull dynamic, and we're going to be feeling this within ourselves, just as these planets are feeling this energy with each other. We can imagine Venus here, very flirty as she always is, very dreamy in the sign of Pisces, very idealistic and romantic, sort of playing with Saturn, tickling Saturn, calling Saturn in closer. And we can see Saturn here, staunch and serious as Saturn can be, being very stern with Venus. Like, Venus, I don't know what you're doing right now. Stop doing that thing to my ear. This is serious. We have serious things to figure out here. We got to iron out some things. Like, I don't know why you never take me seriously. Why are you doing that? No. Let's not go there right now. Let's not go there. Let's really look at this. Let's look at this situation. Let's cut it out with the touchy-feely. Venus, on the other hand, just continuing to giggle, continuing to flirt, continuing to whisper in Saturn's ear. And so as this energy is moving through us, we're going to be experiencing a variety of things. We're going to perhaps be experiencing some insecurity as Venus ultimately is rejected by Saturn time and time again. We're going to be experiencing perhaps a little bit of bitterness, a little bit of frustration. There's this side of us, this Venusian side, that is really dreamy and idealistic, that really wants to share our hearts, that really wants to believe in the unseen, believe in the impossible, believe in all of the infinite possibilities. And then the Saturnian energy that is asking us to get real, that's asking us to get realistic, logical, that is kind of shooting down these dreamy desires and impulses. And this is a symptom of a larger cycle that we are experiencing as Saturn is connecting with Neptune, the ruler of Pisces. And this is a much bigger cycle that we're going to get to in other videos, but it essentially has a similar core frequency of energy. So this is a little mini drama that's playing out, as there is a larger drama going on that's causing us to question our reality, that's causing us to question what is real, that's causing us to see through the rose-colored glasses to the truth of a situation, but also realizing that the truth is perhaps not what we had once thought or perceived. So that's the larger circle or cycle going on right now with Saturn and Neptune, which is going to continue into 2026 as we're breaking down our old reality. We're breaking down all those places where illusion and delusion live within us. But at the same time, we're expanding our consciousness. So it's a really complex, nuanced energy. And Saturn and Venus right now are giving us a little bit of a taste of this within Neptune's sign of Pisces. Here, we're really being asked to look at and understand how it is that we create boundaries, whether we need more boundaries or whether we need less, how it is that we let love in, how it is that we express and open up to that softer, more dreamy, romantic side of ourselves. Where it is that perhaps we are too open in that regard, and where perhaps it is that our traumas or our cynical nature is preventing us from dreaming, preventing us from experiencing more of that joy and that lighter side of life. So this is where we're really being asked to find that balance between the practical and the idealistic and the dreamy, the dreamer in us meeting the realist in us. And this can be a really powerful energy if we learn how to work with it appropriately, because it really helps us take those greater dreams and visions and bring them into form. However, Saturn is going to show us everything here that is not working first, and that can be a bit discouraging. Just like Venus in the simplified sort of duet that we were just doing here, feeling rejected time and time again. Eventually that rejection leads to, like we said, that sense of bitterness and resentment. So we want to make sure that we're not falling victim to that, and instead we're being like, okay, that way didn't work. Maybe that's not how this is going to go. Okay, maybe that wasn't fully realistic, but let's try this. But what about this? It's like we keep dreaming, we keep going back to the drawing board until eventually we get something that works. This energy is really going to be calling into or highlighting to us that aspect of our own inner critic as well, that aspect of ourselves that perhaps felt stymied by life, that felt as though it wasn't allowed to dream, it wasn't allowed to create, that felt like maybe it wasn't good enough. Maybe other people are able to create and express themselves, but like there's something missing with me. There's something wrong with me that doesn't allow me to do that. This is the energy where we feel worried about what people are going to think about us. We're worried about expressing our truth, expressing our vulnerability, expressing our beauty. And so we hide. And so this energy is calling us out, and it's asking us to look at where we are hiding when it comes to our love, when it comes to our creativity, when it comes to our social interactions, and why it is that we're hiding. What do we feel is lacking within us? And is that actually true? Or is that a misperception? Or is that a belief system that was entrained within us by somebody else? And even if it is true that we're lacking in a certain scenario or a certain area of life, like perhaps we are lacking when it comes to social connection in the fact that we're very socially awkward, right? And we can't pretend that that's not true. Or we overthink things in social situations, which is another way of being socially awkward, right? Or like we're too much in our heads about things, right? And we're not able to be present. We're not able to connect on that heart level because we're too much in our heads worrying about how the interaction is going. Then Saturn's giving us a chance to work on that. Okay, so what are some constructive ways that we can overcome this? How can we make ourselves more comfortable? How can we begin to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone so that we can begin to develop that confidence or develop that ease of being that allows us to connect to people with more grace? And this is where we call in those Pisces energies, where we love ourselves unconditionally, where we see ourselves as just a reflection of everybody else, just another aspect of each other, and we love ourselves for where we're at instead of where we think that we should be. All right, this is a real opportunity to employ that energy of self-love and to employ that larger perspective as well, right? In the grand scheme of things, what does it really matter what I say to Johnny and how Johnny takes that? Right? We are these tiny little blips in the huge filament of creation, right? Hurtling through this tiny rock in space. This is one lifetime out of many, one experience out of an infinite amount of experiences, right? Like how consequential is this little moment? And when we see ourselves from that perspective, right? It's the same perspective we get when we stare up at the sky and we see the expanse of the heavens above us. Maybe we can start to let go of that rigidity a little bit and be like, you know what? It's okay to just be me. It's okay if everybody doesn't like me. It's okay if this situation doesn't go perfectly. All right? Like, I can just let it be what it is and know that there's going to be another moment and another opportunity and another conversation and another date and another experience. Somebody, this is like really being nervous about asking people out on dates. Like that's going to be coming up where it's people hold themselves back romantically. Where it is that you're afraid to say the thing to the person that you want to say it to. All those energies, all of those fears of connection, all of that existential despair as well, that melancholy energy, that's going to be coming to the surface for people as well. So just be aware of that. If you are feeling that energy of thinking about yourself compared to the heavens, right? As this tiny little wee morsel in this universe. And if that discourages you, if you feel out of place, if you just want to go home, if you're like, no, I belong up there, right? I am a tiny speck, but I want to be a tiny speck in that creation instead of this one. You know, like there's a lot of energies tied up with this Pisces energy. This is where we have to come face to face with our addictions, face to face with our tendencies to want to escape. And where Saturn is calling us home and saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not escaping right now. We have to face whatever this is. So there's that part of us that wants to run and that part of us that is being called to face things and that tug of war. So the best thing to do is just surrender. That's what Pisces energy, which is where Saturn and Venus both are right now. That is where the energy really flourishes, when we're able to surrender whatever it is that we're fighting against, surrender whatever that resistance is, and just be present in what is. Give ourselves that opportunity to simply be where we are and allow for that to be okay. And once we're able to do that, that's when the shifts and the magic really start to happen.